Hello everybody, my name is Chris, or as you know me, Music for Life, and today, as you can read from down below, I am doing a review of the newest album in the series of Punk Goes, and that is Punk Goes 90's Volume 2. Should the series just stop where it is? Let's find out. Alright, so for years now I've followed this series and I've pretty much loved everything they've put out. As the years have gone by and every album comes out, I've kind of lost interest, I can't lie. And Punk Goes 90's Volume 2, I'm just kind of drawing the line. I'm not saying this album is bad by any means, but as far as the cover albums go, I think that everything just genuinely becomes rather boring and it's not fresh anymore. And I'm going to go into a little in-depth review of all 12 tracks on this, covered by all the numerous bands, so let's just get started. Starting off is Get Scared with their cover of Lit's My Own Worst Enemy. Now, okay, when I first heard this song back in the day, I did love it. I thought it was a great song for soundtrack to movies, and I've always thought it was just a really happy, fun-go song. When I first heard this get released, which was the first song actually released for this album, I thought, alright, there wasn't much of a difference. Get Scared didn't exactly put a huge swing of things from their own sound on it, and I just thought it was a mediocre cover. Not that it was bad, but I mean, nothing stuck out as saying, oh, this is genuine and real. I just thought it was a newer age version of Lit's song, and that was it. Next up, we have Memphis May Fire with Interstate Love Song. Now, this is originally by Stone Temple Pilots. Never really been into Stone Temple Pilots, so I did not know this song. I listened to it, and again, this is a very mediocre cover. It's not bad, but it just doesn't stick out to me. Memphis May Fire had a lot of potential to put their own swing on this, and I don't know. As far as it goes, I look at Memphis May Fire's new album, and that kind of stands out to me. But this is just, I don't know. So far, it's a pretty weak start to this album. Asking Alexandria with their cover of Closer, originally by 9 Inch Nails. Now, I'm not a fan of 9 Inch Nails, not that I think they're bad by any means. I've just never really paid much attention to them, other than a few songs, and this is one of them that I did know. I thought Asking Alexandria did do a pretty good job on this. They did put their own swing on it as far as, AA sound goes. And yeah, I thought Danny's vocals are pretty solid, and this song is more of a mellow song with, I don't know the instrumentals, but there was very little breakdown-ish kind of stuff. And yeah, it was okay. It was definitely starting to pick up what I had hoped for this album. One of my most excited songs on this album is actually The Color Morale covering Everlong by Foo Fighters. Now, I'm a huge Foo Fighters fan, as well as The Color Morale. This didn't necessarily let me down, but knowing the way that The Color Morale is, and Garrett Rapp's vocal style, I would have loved to see his own rendition of that. But I think they either were scared or just didn't want to step away from the boundaries of what the Foo Fighters had created with Everlong. And Everlong is a fairly mellow song, for the verses, and it picks up in the chorus, and it kind of turns into a rock song. And I thought that if they had to put their own swing onto that, it could have been an amazing cover. It was definitely actually one of my favorites on the CD, but I just would have liked to see more from the entire band. But yeah, as far as Garrett's full clean style of vocals, I did enjoy it, and overall it was actually a pretty solid cover. Next up, we have Chunk No Captain Chunk with their cover of All Star by Smash Mouth. Now, I'm sure anyone growing up, whether they're my age or younger, they've at least heard this song once, and they thought, hey, I like this song. And then they're like, 10 minutes later, why am I listening to this song? It's not an amazing song, but I was excited to see what Chunk could have done with it. And I will say, they did put their own spin on it. They had their post-hardcore-ish sound. They had some cool breakdowns, and the vocalist did some screams. I thought it was a good change-up. It didn't stick out to me as saying, man, I love this cover more than the original, but I give them credit where credit's due. It was a pretty good cover. Halfway through the album, we have Mayday Parade covering Calm Down by Bush. Now, I've heard this song maybe once in my life, and when I heard Mayday covered, I was just more looking for what Mayday could put a swing on it for. And anytime Mayday Parade does a cover, I pretty much fall in love with it, because the entire band knows what they're doing and they know how to make a good song, whether it's an original or a cover. And I thought this stuck out as a good song, but I'm not a big fan of Bush, so I cannot judge it from what the original song was. But as far as Mayday Parade goes, it's pretty good. What I thought was going to be one of the strangest covers on this album did turn out to be that, because Motionless in White covered Du Hast, originally by Rammstein. Probably said it wrong, and I apologize. But yeah, I am not a big fan of this song. I never really got into it as a kid, and I never really listened to it because I'm not a big Rammstein fan. I saw like 10 minutes or so to download last year, and that was that. But yeah, I do enjoy Motionless in White, and I knew they were going to put their own spin on it. And it was pretty much, a synthesized, heavier version of Du Hast. And I did enjoy it for the most part. I thought Chris Motionless vocals were pretty much the same as they were on any other Motionless in White song. But yeah, I did enjoy it, and it's one of the heavier songs on the album. So yeah, it's pretty good. At least we're getting halfway through this album and we're picking up the better songs. Yellow Card decided to cover Today by the Smashing Pumpkins. Now, this was actually an interesting choice because if you listen to the Smashing Pumpkins, you know Billy Corgan has a very unique vocal style, and anyone who's tried to cover Smashing Pumpkins would have to change a lot to try to either sound like him or just make the song sound relatively more interesting than the Smashing Pumpkins version of it. But I gotta say that Yellow Card did a great job. They incorporated their style of music, their more alternative, maybe southern type of rock, as you would call it. And yeah, they used all their instruments properly, and I thought that Ryan Key did an amazing job with his vocals. And yeah, it's a pretty good cover. I gotta say, one cover did stick out to me as something I didn't expect, because Hands Like Houses covered Torn by Natalie Imbruglia. I'm not sure. I didn't think I would know this song, but when I heard them covering it, I was like, oh, I do know this song, because it was like one of those radio songs you hear back in the day. And I was surprised. I really enjoyed this cover. I thought they did a great job. It was, typical Hands Like Houses style, some really great instrumentals. And the vocals were just on par. I love the vocals. I probably like the song more than the original, honestly, because I remember hearing this all the time back on the radio. And I got sick of it, but then I hear this cover, and I'm like, all right, way to go, Hands Like Houses. Good job. There was like 2 songs I was anticipated on for this album, and the second one was Southtown by The Ghost Inside, originally by P.O.D. I am a huge fan of The Ghost Inside. I expected amazing things for this, and honestly, I was not let down. This may be my favorite cover on the entire album. The Ghost Inside never disappoint, and their swing on this was awesome. I thought the vocals were on par, just amazing. I thought that the instrumentals were solid, and it's just a great cover. And I thought they took something by P.O.D., which I've listened to a few times. I'm not big into P.O.D., but from what I heard, I was like, all right, this is awesome. Definitely one of the best, actually probably the best cover on this album. So yeah, definite props on that one. Okay, probably my least favorite one is track 11, Falling in Reverse, covering Gangsta's Paradise by Coolio. Now, I'm not even a fan of Gangsta's Paradise. Never really got into Coolio back in the day, or whatever you want to call it. And I don't know. I know that Ronnie Radke has been doing a lot of rapping stuff lately, whether it's from the newest album with some aspects of that, and as well as a new solo album or EP, whatever it is he's releasing soon. And I could definitely see why they decided to pick this song. However, I feel it was more Ronnie Radke than anything else on this song. Was it bad? Not really. Was it interesting to me? Not really. It stuck out as something I could really forget. I don't know. It's just, I didn't really like this song whatsoever, and that's about it for that one. Ending off this album, we actually had another song. I was kind of looking forward to see what kind of spin was going to be put on it. The last track on the album was Ice Nine Kills covering Good Riddance, Time of Your Life by Green Day. Anyone who's gone to a graduation, a wedding, celebration, any kind of thing back in the day, they had this song playing. And I know that for a fact. I've gone through multiple ceremonies hearing this song, celebrating good times and remembrance. And I really wanted to see if they would put a spin on it to see more of the metalcore side that Ice Nine Kills really hones, or that great acoustic side, which they did take the more general acoustic side, which I was overly pleased with. I thought there was nothing stand out about this song, other than the fact that I really enjoy Spencer's vocals overall, and they added more than just guitar. There was, some of the orchestral instrumentals, which were kind of in the original, and I feel they basically covered the same thing. You know, maybe they were afraid to make it heavier to see fans disappointed, and I could understand, because this song is very hard to do anything more than the basic cover of guitars and some overlaying instrumentals, and that was pretty much it. But yeah, I was pretty pleased with Spencer's amazing voice. I was like, yeah, okay, I love this cover. So that was pretty much my track by track review of the album. This may be my least favorite Punk Goes album to date, not because it's bad, just because I feel like they're doing the same thing over and over again, and it's just not as interesting anymore. You know, it's like a company or any brand, they always have to repackage themselves to make it interesting and new again. But I feel this Punk Goes 90's Volume 2 just took everything again and just recycled it and put it into the same thing with some unique songs and some good covers by some of the bands that I did enjoy. I thought that this was kind of a letdown. I mean, when it comes out, maybe you can pick it up. I highly doubt I'm going to buy this, at least for full retail price. As a rating, oh man, I'd probably give it a 6.5 out of 10. It's, I don't know, maybe more of the songs will grow on me, but I mean, if I had to pick my top 3 tracks, looking back at the list, number 1 is definitely The Ghost Inside, covering Southtown. I want to say The Color Morale with Everlong, because that was a pretty great cover. I did love Garrett's voice in that song. And maybe as a third, I'd take Hands Like Houses with Torn, because that one caught me off guard and it was actually really good. And yeah, Hands Like Houses dominate when they cover radio-friendly rock. But yeah, so that's pretty much my review on it. Alright, you guys, you know I'm not normally one to give bad reviews on albums, and it would obviously take a lot for me to state somewhat of a negative opinion on music. But like I said, this just feels like something recycled and redone. You know, like a lot of fans, it gets boring. I can't explain it. I'm kind of upset more than angry, and I just think it's kind of a disappointment level. If I was to see them do anything, I want to see them do something new completely. Whether it's go back to the originals of bringing actual punk bands in, because to say Punk Goes and have no punk bands whatsoever, I mean, I look at this and I'm seeing metalcore bands, pop punk bands, rock bands. Like, I don't see, where's the punk, you know? Like, do an actual Punk Goes punk cover album. Have some of these bands try to cover actual punk, or do Punk Goes metalcore. Try to get other metalcore bands covering metalcore bands. You know, just do something that fans can be like, oh wow, that's actually something kind of cool and interesting to see. But yeah, Punk Goes 90's Volume 2, 6.5 out of 10. Very lackluster for me. I mean, maybe a couple more listens, I'll like it more. But yeah, if you've listened to any of the songs yet and you've listened to the full album, let me know what you think down below. Give it a like and share it around with everyone. As you can tell, the scenery's a bit different. I apologize, but I got my flags up and I kind of wanted to display them. As you can see, there's still some more going over that way. But yeah, that's pretty much all I had to say, guys. Comment, like, subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that little subscribe button down below. And yeah, always remember, guys, it's music for today, music for tomorrow, music for life. Peace out.